right now with the big arm swings forward. And as you do this, just do it nice and easy first. Just relax and concentrate on your breathing. Start to breathe as you do this, and back, forward arm swings. And it doesn't matter if you can't do a full swing. If this is all you've got in you for either flexibility or energy, that's fine too. Whatever you can do. If you can only do one arm at a time, if you got a bad shoulder, same thing. And just start to breathe deeply. That's it. And now reverse it. I just find I'm a little more flexible on the forward than the backwards. I'm a little tighter than the shoulders than I should be. And just keep breathing. That's it. And just start to think about transitioning out of wherever you were and focus now on just the breath. Now I want you to put both arms straight in front of you. Keep your head straight, and then take the left arm first with the head facing forward and go back as far as you can, rotating it outward, head straight ahead, arm horizontal to the ground if you can do it. Just go back as far as it's comfortable. Now switch to the right arm, keep that left arm straight ahead, back as far as you can, as horizontal as you can. Just where it starts to pull. Don't take it farther than your range of motion allows you. Couple more on that side. Still concentrate on the breath. Slight bend in the knees, just a slight bend in the knees. Don't have the knees locked out. Now both arms in front. This time, we're going to go with the left arm, but I want your eyes to follow that left hand as you go back. And you go back as far as you can. You'll probably find you'll be able to go a little farther, following that left hand with your eyes. Keep that right arm straight in front and back. Now you're going to should feel a real stretch and a real loosening up of that shoulder joint. Maybe the first time you've done this one, so just take it easy on the way back. And if you get a little lightheaded, you're out of balance by following your head back, just keep your head straight ahead if that's too much for you from a balance point of view. Let's switch to the right arm, both arms in front. Take that right hand, follow it with your eyes as far as you can. Back, just to the point where you get resistance. That's it. Okay, now back hands, just shake out those hands, shake out the arms. Now let's just do the roll of shoulders. Just roll the shoulders, just relax. Knees slightly bent, roll them forward first. Still getting that deep breath. Just feel loose. Just let it go. Let it go. Now let's reverse it. Elbows not locked, knees just slightly flexed. Roll it back. Roll it back. Okay. Now let's take the head and just as far as you can with the resistance on the left side. Just where it's comfortable. Turn to the right. Once more to the left. Once more to the right. Now this one, again, many people can get a little dizzy doing this. If you want to do the full rotation of the head at 360, or go as far as you can while you feel comfortable and not lightheaded or dizzy. If you do, just go as far as you can where it feels comfortable for you and you're still balanced and not feeling a little nauseous. And don't worry, if it's a little crunchy in there, it's probably not used to doing that. I'm crunchy when I go around the back. Okay, just shake it out again. Now, take your left hand in front of you, fingers up, and with your right hand, just stretch back those fingers so you can feel that pull through your forearm. And we're just getting the hands and the arms ready, for play. And just push those fingers back till you get a good tension through that forearm. You should be ideally at about a 90-degree angle unless you broke your wrist 3 times like I did. And there's a lot of scar tissue in there. Okay, shake it out and let's switch to the other side. Right hand up, left hand against that palm. Again, same thing. Try to get it to about 90 degrees. A nice, easy stretch through the forearm. Great. Okay, shake that out. Now we're going to reverse that. So you're going to have the left arm in front, fingers down, and now you're going to press the other way. Resist it, though, with your fingers. Left arm in front, right fingers over the left hand, resisting with your fingers of the left hand. Okay, and then finally on the right arm out, fingers down, and with the left palm on the right hand fingers, resist those fingers. Okay, great. Just shake that out. Okay, now feet about shoulder width apart, and you're just going to remember your hula hoop days, and we're going clockwise first. If you're looking at the clock, and just loosen up those hips. We'll probably have our dance instructor here doing a pretty good job of this move, I imagine. Okay, just reverse it counterclockwise as we look down. Okay. We can do a few more, but I think that's good. That's good for the upper body right now. We're just going to do a gentle one in this. I probably would encourage you to maybe hold on to the edge of the table just to get the hip openers where you're going inside your right knee towards your left, up and around. You can do it. You can do it here without standing, but I'd suggest here, even if you have light fingers on a table or the wall, inside and around, inside and around, inside and around. And that should then switch over, right hand giving you support, inside and around. You just do like the crescent. Just opening up those hips. Because in ping pong, when you're moving to the ball from side to side, you're doing it straight out, you're doing it on an angle. You got to open that up. Now, back to the left, we're going to go outside in. So you're going to take that left leg out and around and in. Outside and around and in. And again, just lift that foot up as high as you're comfortable doing. You don't have to have your knee in your chin. And switch over, outside, around, and in. Outside, around, and in. Outside, around, and in. Now, when you go for that forehand or that backhand, depending on if you're right-handed or left, you're going to be reaching for that shot when someone's hitting a cross court to the corner. So with your left leg, you're going to go in about a 45-degree angle, just with just a gentle stretch, a lunge to the left corner of your table with the left leg and back. Gentle stretch and lunge. Just about halfway. I'd like half a lunge. So we're getting that groin area and the hips opened up so you can stretch for that shot, not pull a muscle. And then to the other side, feet together, and then right foot, 45-degree angle towards the corner of your table. Half lunge, just feel just an easy stretch. Okay. Now, if you do have to pick up the ball, what I would suggest is feet a little wider than shoulder width. And if you can just do a half squat with your back flat, you don't have to put your head below your knees and get too lightheaded. I'm looking at you now as I pick up the ball. So, feet just a little more than shoulder width apart into a squat. Keep your head up so you don't get lightheaded. Then you can probably pick the ball up that way. And just shake it out. And I think we're moving to the ball only. And again, this is to get the hand-eye coordination going, get both hands working. And I know for me, when we do this, you want to work both sides, both hands, both sides of the body. And you want to try to challenge that affected side. So to be able to do virtually everything the other side can do, that's the objective. And not be able to distinguish between each side. So we'll start with the ball only. We'll move through these ones fairly quickly, and just start with getting the hands active, getting the hand-eye moving, and getting the ball very close together. Starting slowly. When I do this, I notice my right hand, my fingers aren't quite as lively, so I've got to really concentrate on my affected side to get those fingers as light and open and responsive as the left hand. Now, hopefully if you have more than one ball, you've got that extra ball in your pocket if you drop one or two. And then start to open that up with a bigger toss. You're still looking at the ball, bigger toss. Just get used to opening and closing, your head, following the ball, following your hands. And the one then that really starts to get a little trickier is working on that peripheral vision, where you toss it side to side, yet look ahead. So I'm trying to look at you and catch it without looking at the ball. I'm just catching it with my peripheral vision. And then once you can do that, you're in good shape. Now, start to pronate when you catch it over and above, just as you would when you're playing, going from the forehand to the backhand. So you're emulating that movement where you're starting forehand, turning to backhand. So you're turning that hand right over, forehand to backhand. Okay, now hopefully you all have a table in front of you or some flat surface. 2 bounces, catch. 2 bounces, catch, switch hand. 2 bounces, catch. Then alternate hands, bounce, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, and then speed it up once you're comfortable doing that. Now that should give us a good wake up of the hand-eye movement and get your other side. Do most of you notice a significant difference from your affected side?
Yeah.
So it's a good thing to be able to continue to challenge that affected side. Now let's, everyone who has a racket, I think other than Susan, can pick up that racket. And Alex has been good at sort of giving the reminder of the positioning of the finger on the grip. And let's stay on the table at first here and just give it a tap so you can catch it with your playing hand. So now we're picking up the ball off the racket. We're starting just to build this as we would to get closer to the game situation and watch that ball leave the racket. You can actually read often the name that's on the ball. You can read the print if you're really watching that ball come off the racket. Okay, now drop down, hit, catch, hit, drop, catch, hit, drop, catch, hit, drop, catch. and try it with your opposite hand. For me, my affected side is my playing hand. So actually sometimes I feel better on my left hand because that's not my affected side. You do some things that you're not used to doing, move to the balancing in place, and start with your playing hand. And if you're having any trouble balancing that ball, most of you know you can use, as Ryan demonstrates well, with the cage. Now, the cage can be two things. It can either be because you're having trouble keeping it on the racket, or because you just want a little more of a challenge and not to allow that ball to catch your fingers. Try this just for sport after the class. Ryan and I like to challenge each other on new things, but we actually were trying 2 balls and see if we could keep 2 balls balanced. But you can try that just for sport later. Okay, so now watch the difference between when you have your feet together, put your feet together and see the difference between balancing it with your feet together and when you take them about shoulder width or just a little more than shoulder width apart. So you want to talk about balance and balance when you're playing the game. When you watch Alex on here showing you where you should be standing on your backhand, you're facing the ball just the way I am right now, or you're on a 45 almost, roughly on a 45 on the forehand side, but those feet are at least shoulder width or a little more apart, and you should be able to tell in most cases that it's easier to keep that ball still when you're more stable on your lower body.
You'll also find that if you are putting your hand on a table, you can keep your body more still and focus on the face control of the paddle.
Exactly. Very good point, Ryan, because
if you're moving around a lot with the upper body, try putting your hand on the surface, stabilize, and then see if you can translate more focus onto the paddle control.
Because what will happen is if you start to lose your balance, somewhere in your body is going to try and compensate, and then it's going to all not go well. Okay. Now, if you're feeling good with that, if you've got a little room where you are around your table, just start to walk around, balancing that one ball, keeping an eye on it. If you're not comfortable or you're a little off balance on that, what you could do is you could actually keep your hand on the table as you moved along it and go along the perimeter of the table.
Or a wall.
Or a wall. Probably a wall might be easier for you. So along the wall or holding the table to maintain that balance. Now, we'll do one more where we can just make it a little trickier. And again, this one I would definitely recommend that you're on the wall or the table, is you put your left foot in front of your right foot. And if you're masterful at that, some of you are better one way or the other, then put the left foot behind the right foot. And that one for me is a lot trickier.
Ideally holding onto a table if you can.
There we go. Great. Okay, now we're going to introduce, now we're going to get to the last step that gets us to the game, and that's bouncing it. So just start at first, just to get used to it, just one hit to the hand off the table to start. Then if you've got that down, do 2 bounces over to the hand, 3, just work your way up to about 5.
No rush on this either. If you find you're trying to dive to save it, it's probably too many bounces for you, and you need to come back by 1 or 2 bounces. You can if you're just comfortable doing 1, just keep doing 1.
Now, after you've got up to 3 or 4 or whatever you're comfortable with, let it hit the table, bounce, catch. Hit the table, bounce, catch.
And
So now you've got a lot more to concentrate on. And then 2 bounces, catch, 2 bounces, catch, 3 bounces. Thing, if you again take the wall or the table and walk slowly while you're bouncing.
To start with this, I'd say don't try to bounce all the way through the walk. Bounce and catch while you walk so that you don't feel you lose control of the movement. So you're walking, bounce, catch, bounce, catch, very slow motion walk. If you're finding there's a lot of dropping going on, you bounce and catch when you're ready. Don't do it at too fast of a pace.
Or just do it in place if you're finding it too challenging to walk and bounce, catch at the same time.
Or march in place if you want to simulate walking.
Yeah, you just have to have, you can just have your heels up. If you get really ambitious, you can actually get your knees up.
thank you.
Whenever you guys go off camera, I'm like, oh man, I hope they come back.
Here's one other I just wanted to give you that some of you have tried before, and that's where you go from forehand to backhand.
That's a really good one.
Wow. Wow.
Or hand, catch, turn it over.
I'm gonna show you
Catch.
something.
Yeah.
Watch
That's actually Ryan's is a good intermediate one to do because you can just do the flip from forehand to backhand, and then you can graduate to the continuous turn. But this one again is a good game simulation one, and you get that total pronation, and you can check your grip.
Yeah. And all this is really great to help with your ping pong game. And then, I mean, maybe Ryan could speak a little bit why this is so good for your brain.
Absolutely. So the hand-eye coordination will get your brain paying attention. When you're learning new movements, like that are more motorically complex, you have to use your hand-eye coordination, your wrists, your fingers. It's creating new connections between synapses in your brain over time. So it's the neurons that wire together, fire together type thing. It's creating more electrical activity between these neurons, and that starts to manifest as more skills.
So what we'll do is we'll just mix these up, introduce some new ones, show you some progressions of the ones we're doing, so that we can kind of keep it interesting and keep you challenged.
If you're looking to do these on your own, we of course went through so much different types of exercises, a lot of different information, a lot of different content. It's easy for us to say, just go do it all the time. But one easier way of going about this is if there's one drill that you really liked, and you say, oh, I really like the drill where I was balancing the ball, I'm going to do that throughout my day a few times a week. Go ahead and simplify it and just keep it to that. If you're a very systematic person and you like a checklist of activities, you can refer to our website or an email to go through all of the activities. Some people are very systematic and dedicated. You can do that. If you're very competitive and you say, you know what, bouncing 3 times and catching it was really hard for me, I'm going to work on that. You can go for that too. So human behavior is such that we're all unique, right? And we're all going to do the same thing. Some of us might just want to do the things we enjoy, ball balancing in the example I gave. Some of us really want to work on the things that we weren't so good at today. Let's give the example of ball bouncing while walking, for instance. And then some of us are going to want to do it all. So go ahead and think about what exercise or exercises that you're going to try to do more of this week or next. We're going to share that with the group as well. Go ahead, Farrell.
Will this recorded Zoom meeting be available to us so that we could review based on what we've seen?
Absolutely. We will share this meeting after the call and all future meetings too.
Right.
Yeah, and most of the ones that you saw today are on the tutorials on the website, but we'll be introducing ones that currently aren't. So to Farrell's point, that's where those ones would be available, is on the recorded version.
And
Because
I
there's one.
mentioned that I have been waking up feeling very stiff for a long time, but I started doing your exercises, Trent, in the morning to kind of get my body moving, and they've been really helpful to get rid of this morning stiffness.
Great, terrific.
That's great to hear.
That was a good warm up.
For the exercises we just did, Sarah?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That was a good warm up.
It's also a great way to wake up the brain as well, because you have that attentional focus that people say is so good for Parkinson's within certain types of exercise. That's why they say dance and boxing can be so great, partially because of that attentional focus. You're paying attention to something. So that will engage your brain as well. And having that in combination with a motor task and some mobility can definitely help in a variety of ways.
It's challenging.
Well, we
As
look
it should
forward to
be.
we can't wait to have you when we can all be in person together. So it will be fun to do that. But I'm so glad we were all able to do this on a Zoom call today. It's the first time we've done this. So
Great, I think.
this way.
Before we go, but I just want us to notice that we're feeling pretty good and sufficiently challenged off not ping pong, the game, but a paddle and a ball. I think that's pretty cool, is that our gatherings so far have been really table centric. And now that we don't have the table and we're not in a group, we can still get this sense of challenge and feeling good and less rigid and more focused just with a paddle and a ball. And that right there just sounds like an infomercial for PPG. I don't know. That's cool.
Well, we hope to see everybody in person